You guys are ready to simp, right? I hope you're all ready to simp, because you know who we're about to be talking about. As you guys might be aware, AOC, who's sort of the frontliner of the squad, the sort of like enclave of like progressive politicians that are much more left-leaning than your average Democrat, that have become very popular, populist, anti-establishment, progressives that act as, you know, just kind of representatives of your average, like, young, more radical, progressive, Gen Z, Gen Alpha, political person, you know? And she's kind of, lately, gotten a lot more attacks lately, or I repeated lately there, got a lot more attacks than she usually does. Now, typically, she's getting attacked from the right at all angles, you know, just all the time. Sexual harassment, death threats. In some cases, I think there was a, during Jan 6, didn't she have a fucking pipe bomb put outside her office or something? Didn't, like, Capitol Police find a pipe bomb outside her office the night before January 6th? This is one of the, like, less-known things, but a bunch of pipe bombs were planted all over the Capitol before January, like the day before January 6th, that got found by Capitol Police. I'm pretty certain one of them was right outside her office, and I distinctly remember Keemstar, like, getting super mad at AOC and being like, it wasn't right outside her office, it was 10 feet away. It's like, okay. Alright, man, you owned AOC on that one. The pipe bomb wasn't right next to her office. They planted it 10 feet away from her office. You know, listen, point destroyed. The point that AOC was making with that initial tweet, completely, utterly decimated by the fact that it was the pipe bomb was 10 feet away, not right next to her office. Anyway, no, the right hasn't been the ones giving AOC a hard time lately. I mean, they always do, but not as much as usual. The group giving AOC a hard time are lefties, or I guess what people who would call themselves lefties. Tankies, I would call them. The anti-America, trendy, anti-Biden Democrats and Republicans are just as bad crowd have been going after AOC really hard. They've also gone after Bernie really hard because he told people that they should vote for Biden, and they see that as him selling out, despite that being consistent with his politics going back to the civil rights movement, when he was getting dragged away by police for protesting for black people's right to, like, inhabit the same spaces as white people in public. You guys remember that famous image, right? Like, Bernie's, like, 19 years old, in glasses, with his, like, short curly hair and, like, some nerdy-ass suit, getting dragged away by two cops, smiling. He's smiling. You know, he refuses not to smile at the camera. You guys know that famous picture. Like, this has been consistent with his politics since then, I'm sure. But AOC's been getting a lot of shit because she still advocates for people to support Biden. Yet, all the while, she also acts as a clear counter to the idea that you must be entirely against Biden and the current establishment in order to support the Palestinian cause. And that you don't have to literally be pro-terrorism to support the Palestinian cause. A good example of this is a speech she gave today. This is a speech she gave literally today. If I wanted to look further back, I could find plenty more, but this is just the most recent one of her speaking on young people organizing and bringing attention to the plight that Palestinians face.
It is especially important that we remember the power of young people shaping this country today, of all days, as we once again witness the leadership of those peaceful student-led protests on campuses like Columbia, Yale, Berkeley, and many others.
So, like, well, it's a very short clip, but regardless, it's one of the better ones from today that I could find of it, because this is like a brand new speech from literally earlier. There's not a lot of clips of it yet. But there's also another clip I wanted to show you guys. This is from a few days ago. This is what ended up getting AOC quite a lot of shit. She ended up doing an interview with Mehdi Hassan on the topic of progressive Americans, their issues with Biden and the current handling of the Israel-Palestine conflict, and whether or not it's worth voting for Biden. Statements like the base shit you're about to hear now are the kind of shit that's getting AOC under fire. And I don't think that's a thing. I don't think AOC is doing anything wrong. I think this is a sign that the left, or at least a loud minority of the left, I would guess, are in a really bad state right now, having as much of a voice as they do. For example, recently AOC was chased down, like down an entire city block by people screaming at her through megaphones to call what's happening in Palestine a genocide, despite the fact that she's done so like hundreds of times. In fact, she was like the first politician in Washington to call it a genocide. So it almost comes off as like some kind of psyop. But if you look at who these people are, they're actual tanky lefty posters on Twitter and on Twitch and stuff. And so there needs to be a balance here. Yeah, Hassan fans is a good way of just kind of summarizing this. In fact, Hassan is one of the people who's turned on AOC. Hassan has been really big on the anti-AOC train lately. If you guys think I'm too rough on Hassan, then, I mean, maybe you should think that Hassan's being a bit too rough on AOC. That, or maybe you just want Trump to win? A lot of these people just want Trump to win, like straight up.
What do you say to a...
They consider it a punishment for the Democrats. Anyway, let's watch this clip. AOC being fucking based.
What do you say to a young progressive or an Arab American who says to you, I just...
This is really quiet. I'm gonna have to volume boost this shit. Gruh. Volume booster time. This should do it. All right. Take two.
What do you say to a young progressive or an Arab American who says to you, I just can't vote for Biden again after what he's enabled in Gaza? What do you say to them?
I mean, I think everyone comes to this prospect and this conversation with a different history, different background, what they bring. You know, for an individual Palestinian American that has had their family killed, there is nothing, I mean, I am not here to lecture anyone. I also think that...
Actually, no. Even if you're a Palestinian whose family was killed by Israel with bombs that were paid for exclusively by Biden's funding bills to Israel, you are a bad person if you do not vote for Biden if you are able to vote. Like the countless people whose lives will suffer, both foreign and abroad, like abroad means like native and abroad. What is the term? I don't remember. Regardless, here in America and the rest of the world, because America is the world police, or at least acts like it, will be far worse. Like the idea that like domestic, thank you. The idea that like the evils that are committed under Biden's oversight, despite being lesser than the evils that Trump has bragged will happen under his, are somehow equivalent unless there is no point in you're not Geralt, okay? You're not fucking Geralt. Stop role-playing that one Killing Monsters trailer.
If I had to choose between one evil and another, I'd rather not choose at all. I am Geralt Witcher.
You're not him. You're not him, bro.
This election is more, in my personal view, I believe this election is about more than president. And also, it's not just one election that's happening. We're having hundreds of elections.
Yes.
The balance of Congress, the balance of the House, the balance of the Senate, and the presidency. And
your local elections. Let's not forget your local elections and policy referendums. There are policies on that ballot. Outside of even electing people, there are actual policies and referendums on that ballot where your votes are directly influencing the decision on whether a bill will be passed, a thing will be made legal or illegal. Like, there are countless things on the ballot. The people who say don't vote, don't exercise the soft power of voting, are not just politically destructive, they're also politically ignorant. I really liked recently, we covered a video from a anti-voter channel who also isn't even American, but is encouraging their American fans not to vote for Biden, despite being a lefty channel. Tweeted that voting does nothing, yada, yada, yada. You know, you should organize and do real change or whatever. And all the replies, I was so happy to see this. All the replies to Zigzizi's tweet were, what's the status of your local Walmart? Status of your local Walmart? How's your local Walmart doing? Has your local Walmart been firebombed? And then, like, just screenshots of that one tweet where it's like, motherfuckers on Twitter will say, your mode of political activism by voting pales in comparison to my method of political activism, firebombing a Walmart, and then they'll proceed not to firebomb a Walmart. They're basically just the perfect example of that mindset. These are the type of people who say, don't vote, firebomb a Walmart, and then they don't go and firebomb a Walmart. They go and post on Twitter about how they want to firebomb a Walmart, I guess. I don't know. These people are LARPers, okay? Do not advocate for political violence. It's not an effective strategy. It's extremely unpopular. Even if you think it's in any way, shape, or form morally okay, never even try to advocate for it. It is an extremely politically unpopular position to hold, and not one that's even worth trying to die on the hill of convincing people is justified. A good example of unpopular shit like that the left will do is stuff like roadway protests. The Palestinian protesters have been doing this a lot lately. It's actually the go-to mode of protest for the pro-Palestine movement, is blocking off public roadways. That is literally one of the most unpopular protest methods when polling Americans on like what kinds of protests are they like receptive to. In fact, when blocking roadways, it makes the average American more antagonistic towards that movement. It's basically less so a protest and more so a attempt to make more people hate your movement and associate that movement with inconvenience, annoyance, disruption, and unsafety. This is something very problematic for the left right now when it comes to advocacy for Palestine. And then on top of that, there's the advocacy to not even vote that they do on top of that. These people are just downright destructive. They are a cancer to the left, far more than any annoying woke scold Twitter posters could ever be. These are people who are making it their mission politically from the left to disable the Democrats' ability to win, because they consider a win on the part of the Republicans a valid punishment for the Democrats. They don't care about politics or improving people's lives or conditions. They care about their social club and their like emotions being fulfilled. There's nothing there. They're hollow. They're husks. They might as well not be politically active at all.
And I have a vested interest in protecting democracy, not just here.
They claim that's the point and they want to be disruptive, plus they argue that if you are annoyed at them, you are not worth convincing. Exactly, Game Master 19. If you are part of the, 78% of Americans who say that public roadway blocking protests make them antagonistic towards that movement, if you're part of that, vast majority of Americans, you're not even worth convincing. Exactly. That is exactly how they operate. You literally I couldn't have said it better, Game Master 19. That is a very good way of putting it. Thank you.
Domestically, but globally. And it isn't, I truly do not believe this as a lesser of two evils type of situation. I think about what conditions do I want to be organizing under in the
Exactly. If you care about organization and what you consider to be real political action that's not voting, then just fucking vote as a politically neutral act so that you can create more comfortable circumstances, at the very least, through which to take action in. If you're acting only because you believe harsher circumstances are the only thing that will motivate people to act, you're what's called an accelerationist. And, well, I don't think I need to explain why accelerationists are stupid. They're the types that are fine sacrificing millions of lives if it means that their idea of how people get politically motivated will be, succeeded. The types of people who believe that we have to have billions homeless and starving for there to be a revolution, and thus achieving a point in which there are billions homeless and starving in America, or whatever, not in America, but you know what I mean, is like a goal they want to achieve. Like, if capitalism decays to that point, that's a win for them, because they can say, see how bad it is? They don't care if it's hurting people. They just want to be able to, I told you so, pretty much.
In the next 4 years.
Yeah.
We can look at both of these individuals oppositionally as well, depending on what issue you have. But I would rather, even in places of stark disagreement, I would rather be organizing under the conditions of Biden as an opponent on an issue than Trump, who is not, he seeks to dismantle American democracy.
Yes, he does. I don't know how effective of a talking point this is, even with, like, does the idea that Trump wants to destroy American democracy vibe with you? Like, when you hear a Democrat say that, does it fill you with the amount of fear that you feel like the Democrat saying it wants you to be filled with? Does that vibe with you as, like, majority leftists? Or is that just something that mostly vibes with liberals? Does that even vibe with normies, I wonder? Because I don't know what audience really fundamentally cares about American democracy. I'm gonna be honest, I don't think most people like democracy. I think most people only really like democracy when their side is winning in the democracy. When the bad people are winning in a democracy, this has happened before, look at Nazi Germany, I think there's a lot of reasons to say democracy kind of sucks when it allows people like that to take power. With just a short stint of popularity, a long stint of power can be gained, sometimes a permanent stint of power in the case of Nazi Germany. It just kind of, there's a lot of problems with democracy, and I think like the average person sees this clip and goes, true. So I don't know if the like angle of wanting to defend democracy is really the best route for Biden and the Democrats to take. Let me see if I can find the video. Where is it? Here it is. I love this video. And it's very true, and I think a lot of people would also say true when watching this video, and that's a big reason why I don't know if the defense of American democracy is as, like, motivating of a talking point as you guys would think.
Because democracy basically means government by the people, of the people, for the people. But the people are retarded.
It's so fucking good. It's so fucking good, dude. I will never not love that video. It's one of my favorite videos on the internet.
And I am taking that personally very seriously, because we will not be able to organize for any movement towards anything if we are facing the jailing of dissidents. I mean, this is the kind of authoritarianism that he threatens.
Fascism.
And we have to take it seriously.
True. True. What are the comments on this, I wonder? What is this? Is this like a lefty poster? PhD, coach, co-founder, Small Schools Workshop, host of Hitting Left Radio. I'm not necessarily disagreeing with AOC, but I have to remind her that on the day after Donald Trump was in office, one of the biggest mass protests ever organized. Dude, they're actually accelerationists. They actually want Trump to win because they believe that's the only way to motivate people. They want there to be suffering because they can. I told you so. They're literally they don't care about people. They're literally. Is this sociopathy? Sociopathy isn't real. Is this like antisocial personality disorder? Like, is that what leads people to this kind of shit where they can emotionally disconnect themselves from like the consequences of political action like this? It's like, it's not real people's lives or anything. It's just a game of like, ratios and W's and L's or whatever. I genuinely, I don't know. Look at how these people argue too. They genuinely, like, you can tell they do not keep in touch with politics. I keep in touch with politics the minimum amount you can to be a political commentator, I would say. And yet, I know that Biden has been doing, like, it wasn't a rally, but it was literally the fucking State of the Union address he had recently. The cons are already picking thousands of Trump loyalists for all kinds of positions in the government. Project 2025 is looming if we don't have a massive blue wave. This is a good comment. This guy replies, yes, I know what they're doing, but what are we doing? Where's our campaign? Where's our candidate? Rallies? Is politics just fanfare to this guy? But, like, for one, if you actually follow literally any of what Biden's policy has resulted in, you would know he's doing a fantastic job, especially on the economic front. We are in a time of unprecedented sustained economic growth under Biden. Unlike anything we've seen since, I think, the 50s, I believe it was, the 50s or 60s. We have not seen the American economy grow positively like this. Same goes for wage growth. Wages have not grown like this since the 1950s and 60s, and they have not been sustained like this in a very long time. So if he was actually researching any of Biden's policies and, like, what Biden's doing and how it's affecting people's lives, or even the way that he's, like, Biden, like, going under Trump's Supreme Court's nose to eliminate, what is it, like, over $1 billion, $2 billion, or $3 billion in student debt so far? So far, by the way, he's still eliminating student debt by the hundreds of thousands with signing bills and executive orders. So it's like, I don't... Do you need him to be, like, yelling out about how Palestine is genocide, Israel bad, for you to vote for him? Like, you already admitted that you think that Trump winning is good because it motivates people to protest, and all you give a shit about is protesting. Do these people, is it like, when these people say action and protest, they understand that protesting doesn't matter unless you convince the people in power to change their minds with that protest, right? Like, protests are just public pressure to make the people in power do what you want. Does he think that Trump, like, did that protest against Trump do anything other than produce a million anti-SJW, anti-Trump SJW meltdown clips? Because that's what I remember coming out of those protests, was the videos of, like, that were made fun of unanimously online, of the people with the pussy hats, the screaming people, the burning trash cans during those protests. Like, that protest did not do any good. No one was convinced by it, certainly not any politicians. So if you're going to protest, don't you want to protest and put pressure on people who have indicated they at least care about getting your vote? So like AOC said, what conditions do you want to protest under? Under the people who are saying they will gun you down in the street for protesting, like Trump? Or somebody who is currently passing policy more progressive and left-leaning than what he ran on in 2020 because his constituency has gotten more progressive, and he's trying to chase the positive response? I don't know, man. This is truly devastating to me. Like, how cooked the left is right now. How can you just outright admit you want Trump elected to, like, punish the Democrats and to motivate people with suffering, and not realize how psychotic that is? As a lefty, how do you not realize how psychotic that is? Genuinely. I'm really curious to hear what you guys think of this down below in the comments section. Frankly, I think I'm at a loss for words at this point. It helps a lot. I like reading your comments. The engagement is also very helpful as well. And of course, if you guys want to support me financially, you can always do so by donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub on my website. I really do appreciate it, just like Wasteful Net just did, actually. And of course, you can also support me financially through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon. You can buy merch through the Streamlabs link as well. And you can also join my fan Discord for free. It's a really fun community. We do watch parties, call-in streams. I have, like, game servers, and I also do announcements for all my stuff. Don't forget to subscribe and the bell icon too. And I really do appreciate as well every single person who drops a like. Every thumbs up pushes my channel and the algorithm out to more people. So seriously, guys, thank you for every single thumbs up. It really, really means a lot to me. Thank you.